Oh, we know how you like it. Raw and uncut with DJ Baker.
Go out there, man. Do your thing. All right, go get it.
Where you going? Where you going? What you talking about? What you talking about? We had dick and balls and pussy. Shut up. Oh, God. All right, let's get into it. You hear the Streamer Boys, everybody. Now, we always used to call them the Beagle Boys. No longer call the Beagle Boys the Streamer Boys. Now, the Streamer Boys will encompass the OnlyFans boys. We always got to say that. You know what I'm saying? So, if you hear some OnlyFans folks thrown in there, that's because they're part of the Streamer Boys. They're a subdivision, okay? This is how we run things here. If you don't know, now you know. Write it down so you're not confused, okay? Let's get into this, okay? It's a love couple. They've been together 4 years now. Now we got the exact date, right? 4 years. All right, this is 4 years that Rick, Rosa, and Noah have been together. Now they recently started. Let's get right into it. Let's dive right into it because I got a lot to say about this. You know what I mean? Don't ask me. Don't ask. I'm just gonna tell you how I feel, and then we'll have the conversation. Okay? Okay. Let me tell you the information. So, because I wrote this down, they've been together 4 years, right? Okay. They all talked about having threesomes. You know what I'm saying? That this started with like maybe the day before. Now, if you saw, when we have the video that I'm sure it's up on the screen of them doing the dancing stuff, and that was date night. That was actually date night. So I'm assuming that was around the same time that they were doing the threesome. It was actually maybe the day, after, the day before, whatever the case may be. It was, a threesome. So I guess they decided that the guy that was going to be the threesome was their weed man. Hold on. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want to do, if you want to have a threesome and they said they had a good time with the threesome, everybody was satisfied. Clearly everyone was satisfied. They were actually celebrating. They were excited. Like he said, it was like, okay. And then the next day, it was. It seemed like Noah had something to do, and they had to separate. And he said that his phone turned off. Noah said his phone turned off. So what happens when phones turn off, and then somebody's trying to call you, and it's the day after of an exciting situation that happened in the threesome, right? So we find out this all happens at 4 a.m, by the way. So 4 a.m, Rick Rosa comes home, and Noah says, well, I need some weed. It's 4:00 in the morning. I need some weed. Now Grandma stays in the house with them. So we know that Grandma lives in the house with them. And she probably doesn't like to hear them arguing. So, I'm sure when she hears the arguing happening, she wakes up and comes out the door. It's like, what is going on? You know what I mean? Y'all need to go to bed with all that noise. This is Grandma. Grandma ain't having it. There's nothing like Grandma at the top of the stairs. Like, shut that chop up. You know what I mean? Shut up. I'm trying to get some sleep. I'm trying to watch the reruns of General Hospital. It's so Ned, shut up. Come on now. Not to mention he probably got some of the weed for the grandma too. I'm sure she smoked a little bit. Toke and stuff. You know what I mean? Why not? If you're at that age, you might as well just give it a whiff, okay? Give it a whiff. You'll probably get contact high just from being in the house. You know what I mean? What's all that smell? Smells good. Exactly, Mama. Exactly. So he comes home, and so the weed man is coming out of the house. Now, Noah said the minute that he realized, he said, I didn't have any money. I didn't have my wallet on me. So why don't you tell the brother to just wait outside? I'll be right. He said he didn't think about that. He said just bring him in. Probably because, you just had sex with him with your man the other day. So you invite the guy in. He goes all the way up to your room. He follows you. And it's interesting that, Rick Rosa said he comes home and he sees the man coming out of the house, coming down the stairs, from the room. Now, what the freak is he doing in the room? I would have said the same thing. Now remember, he couldn't answer his phone. He didn't answer his phone because he said he turned his phone off. And then you come home and then you see the man that you had a threesome with and coming out of the same bedroom that you know, doing the boo boo boo, the doo doo doo, because they did the threesome in a hotel. They got the hotel, you know, as we used to call back in the day, the telly. You know, he got the telly, so you know, they go take it to the telly. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to, you know, what they say is shit where you eat. You know what I mean? All right, so they said, well, I'm not doing this in our bedroom. Let's take this to the telly. Well, they take this to the telly. What happens? They had a great time. But now I come back the next day and this man is in my bedroom talking about weed. Oh boy, y'all could have smoked that outside. He could have waited outside and sat on the porch. But it was 4 a.m. Sometimes you're like, oh, you know, just come on in, bro. I mean, we just had sex. We just had sex. You know, but he still could have stayed downstairs. He could have said, I'll wait here in the living room. No, you went upstairs with him. So I'm with Rick Rosa, who said, you know, well, why is he coming all the way to your bedroom? You know what I'm saying? It was like, it's not that he said, not that I don't trust, you know, Noah. It says, I don't trust the dude that he, you know, and it is true that happens. Now, brown cow, you know, this is when I have a story, right? All right. So I've been in this predicament when I was young too. And let me tell you something. Oh gosh, I don't want to admit this, you know, on air. But now it happened to me. And not that I was cheated on, but I did kind of the cheating. It was my first time. I never did that before. So I know what Rick Rosa saw. He saw the homeboy trying to get up there and get some more extras. You know what I mean? He enjoyed one person a little more than the other. Yeah, you had a great time, Rick Rosa, but homeboy had a better time with Noah. That's what it really was. I mean, let's face it. Let's not pretend. Let's not pretend. And he shouldn't pretend either. Well, I think they started, you know, an argument, and Rick Rosa admits that, you know, he didn't stop. Like, he is animated. He goes hard when he argues. He gets a little bit disrespectful, as he said. You know what I mean? Hitting on Noah. Noah took a little bit of it, but after a while, it was like, what is going on? Then the pepper spray comes out. And so first he pepper sprayed Noah, and then I guess in accident you pepper sprayed the grandma. Well, that set everything off. There's like, well, the grandma, oh no, that's it. So here he go. He went ballistic. And that's what we saw in the video where he's stabbing up the chair and he's stabbing up the, you know, he broke the TV. He said he didn't destroy everything. He's got a little bit of leftovers and stuff. You know, you see his little background in this video. And, you know, I personally understood a little bit of this. Is very a toxic relationship, though. I mean, he admitted that they don't really talk much. When they get into these situations where they get angry at each other, you know, you try to separate, or, you know, whatever the case may be, they separate. So they've been off and on, you know what I mean, for 4 years. And it's the off and on part that worries me when it comes to a relationship, you know what I mean? Because that means, well, off and on, what does that mean? What does that mean, off and on? Either you're on or you're off. There's no off and on. Does that mean because the minute you're not in each other's sight that you're off? Is that what that is? Because to me, that doesn't make any sense. Just because I'm not in someone's presence doesn't mean we're off. Off means off. Off means we done. This is why I don't do the go back and forth shit. You know, if you broke up, we broke up. I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to talk to you for a little bit. I'm done. And ain't no coming back. That's why the decision has to be final. You know what I mean? You can't do the well, I break up with you on Monday, then he sleeps with someone on Tuesday, and then you get back with him on Wednesday, and then you call him cheating on you. That's not cheating, boo boo. We broke up, okay? Now I don't know if that's necessarily true. Noah has admitted to, you know, screwing up a couple of times. Really only one time he admitted it, but you could tell it was more than once. And Rick Rosa says he's animated, and sometimes, you know, he gets in his emotions. So that's a bad mix, you know what I'm saying? When you don't have communication, and the communication you do have is usually animated, you know, expressive, and can, you know, push people to a limit, because unless you're understanding what this is, I mean, in 4 years you think you should, but sometimes you just go too far. And Rick Rosa admitted he went too far. Shabrika went too far. But I'm glad that they, sat down and they're both talking about it. And maybe this is a process that they have to go through. You know what I mean? Every relationship is not the same. I'm saying that I'm not going to put up with a breakup, get back together, break up, get back together. But a lot of couples go through this. You know what I mean? They go through these changes. They go, and either one, the sex is good and then everything else ain't wrong, like the communications and stuff. And sometimes it takes a while for them to work on to that. But I'm just saying, I was a little concerned, but I'm not concerned anymore. These are two grown men. They can do what the hell they need to do and handle their business the way they need to handle their business. Congratulations. I'm glad they're back together. Can we give Shabrika and Noah a bucket? They get a bucket for working it out, okay? They came on air and they talked about it. They seem to be back to normal. But I think there's some serious questions here. I think that, we need to talk about therapy, group therapy. I think, there's a lot of couples that may need, group therapy. I think all couples need group therapy, but in this case, I think they need a serious couples therapy because they need to get their feelings out. And you rather talk about those feelings than just to, keep, placating, and then it explodes. You know what I'm saying? All right. When we come back, we got the crime report, you know what I'm saying? And we've got more with Rick Rosa as he gets the scoop on Chef D and Saucy Santana. That's a separate thing because, Shabrika need to get back to work. We need to get those numbers back up, okay? We've gone a little too long, all right? Welcome back, Shabrika. The Mafia Love Show over here, okay?
Oh, we know how you like it. Raw and uncut with DJ Baker.
Go out there, man. Do your thing. All right, go get it.